I, Fraser Wilson, residing at 3 Redwood Drive, do hereby, through this document, make the disposition of all my properties. I have made the decision with sound mind, free will, and understanding of the consequences of my action to the full extent. This document is executed on the 23rd of October 2024. This is the only will and testament. There is no other will and testament. The will and testament states that I authorise Mr. Craig Clark, resident of 115 Hollyfield Crescent, as my personal representative, to take action and carry out the terms of my personal representative to carry out the actions. I hereby direct that all my assets, both liquid and otherwise, I leave in their entirety to Callum Scott, resident of 87 Joshua Street. Likewise, the house at 3 Redwood Drive and all belongings therein I leave to Callum Scott.
"24th of February. I've neglected my journals, and coming back here has reminded me of the advice Mr. Wilson gave me. I was a huge fan of his work and jumped at the opportunity to meet him at the college event. Once I passed my exams, I became his assistant until... well... He told me about how a lot of his writing was inspired by his own work and people he met. Fraser encouraged me to keep a journal, a diary of my life, to help me remember things to provide inspiration later in life. I've been working with Mr. Wilson for the last 19 months. It was only yesterday when I visited his solicitor who told me I was the sole beneficiary of his will. He left me his house and 20 million spread among his accounts and assets. And along with this, Mr. Clark brought a letter Mr. Wilson left for me to read after he passed.
Dear Callum, this may come as a shock to you that I am leaving everything to you. Once you reach my age, you'll start to think about things, your legacy and what you leave behind. I've made many mistakes in my life. I have suffered a great deal of loss, but the proudest moment of my life was not my first book being published, not my first award, not my success, but yours. When you handed me the first copy of your book and you thanked me for all that I had done to help it, I couldn't think of the words to describe how proud I was of you. I watched you develop from a shy teenager struggling to be a real author. As you know, I have no siblings, no wife and no children, so I could not think of a better candidate for my inheritance. My home, in particular, she may hold many secrets that I hope...
You may think that ended abruptly, as did I. Fraser was showing signs of memory loss before he passed. He thought it might be showing signs of dementia and add to the growing list of health issues Mr. Wilson suffered from. Mr. Clark thinks that could be the reason the letter isn't finished. Regardless, after a few days I was able to move out my parents' home and move into 3 Redwood Drive. This is my first night here, and as I attempt to unlock her secrets, as Fraser asked me to. 25th of February. I bought and wrote Kathy's birthday card. I haven't sent it. I still have no idea if I should. I don't think I'm my mum's favourite person right now. I spent the rest of the day looking through the house. Downstairs was very ordinary. I didn't see anything particularly interesting in any of the guest bedrooms. However, in what I can only guess was meant to be a walk-in wardrobe, I found it all. God only knows how he was able to get them up there, and I suppose he must have had a carer who was kind enough to do it for him. Boxes and boxes filled with Fraser's writing. Journals, diaries, unsent letters, the lot. too much for me to get through today. I've hardly made a dent in them. They date back just weeks before his passing. Lots of the writing wasn't as clear. Again, I'm assuming due to his condition, but I found a collection of letters very interesting. They were all addressed to the same person, Elizabeth. He briefly mentioned a name to me once. It was a girl he'd grown up with. Judging from these letters, they were a little more than friends.
Oh dear, man. Oh my god. Oh.
So much sweeter. Turned out they were engaged at one point, and he wrote to her once in 2004 about wanting to catch up, but never sent it.
This has been the hardest day of my life. I've been staring at the date and the first line for the past 40-something minutes, unable to put into words the pain today has caused me. As a part of my past, my soul, and what I hoped to have been my future was put to rest today. I have this sick, empty feeling, like a part of me is missing. I suppose it is. Not just missing, but gone. Gone forever. Today, I said goodbye to Lizzie. Why had I been so selfish? I drove her away. In my attic are piles and piles of letters unsent. I had always wanted to marry her. Why had I waited? Writing down these things always helped me in the past, but I don't think there are no words to describe how Lizzie made me feel, let alone how her passing makes me feel. She inspired so much of my writing, and I've attributed much of my success to her. Without her, I have nothing. I would be nothing.
"26th of February. That was a tough read yesterday. After I could stop thinking about Kathy, I decided to send the card. Her mum might not like it, but the stuff with Fraser and Elizabeth really got to me. I spent the other day looking through boxes, mostly just more of the same thing, except one thing. You see, Fraser had a famous crime thriller named after its title character Max Carlton, but it was left unfinished before he got ill. He started writing the finale and almost finished it. Today, amongst the stack of papers, I found it. The manuscript, the unfinished finale of Max Carlton, and I read the whole thing cover to cover. Although it wasn't finished, it was still the best book I've ever read, and this has to be what Fraser's letter was referring to in his final lesson for me. I'm the only person to read this. 27th of February. I reread the manuscript again today. The connection I have to it after working for Mr. Wilson, I can't put into words. And being the only person to read it makes it even more special. This afternoon though, I did get a phone call. It was Fraser's publisher. They'd found out that I'd inherited Fraser's property, and I'm guessing that's how they'd figured out I had the manuscript. And they rang me up asking to buy it off me, and I said no. This was Fraser's gift to me, and I told him that it wasn't finished, and there was no way anyone could do the ending justice. Which is true, and there's no way I'm giving this up, not for all the money in the world, and I don't think Fraser would want me to. Judging from his home, he didn't live the lavish lifestyle he could afford, and he always told me that the art and legacy are worth more than money.
My home in particular, she held many secrets. I hope that you discover them all. I hope that it gives you the courage to speak to Mr. Lang, my publisher, and you finally get that book out to the world. What's the point of having a great story if you can't tell it to everyone? Inside my house, I'm sure you will find the manuscript to my final book. It's up to you what you do with it. It's yours now. My final piece of advice is to have no regrets. Whether it's someone you should have spoken to, something you should have done, something you should have written, have no regrets. You are going to really be something, my boy. Kathy will be extremely proud, as will I. Farewell, Fraser.
"29th of February. I missed yesterday's entry, hoping to make a habit of that, and I just had too much on my mind. After finding the end of Fraser's letter, I wasn't really sure what to do. I did what Mum always recommended, sleep on it, and when that didn't work, I did what Dad always did. Absolutely nothing. Believe it or not, that actually really helped. I decided to call Mr. Lang and ask if he was still interested in the Fraser's manuscripts, and it was his, on a few conditions. Number one, not a single word was changed or added, other than a page at the back explaining how Fraser's never finished the book. And two, that every penny the book made was donated to various charities, and it was the best way I could honour Fraser's memory, and I'm guessing he'd be happy to hear that I've scheduled my own meeting with Mr. Lang to talk about my own writing. I think this could be the start of something new.
I've made many mistakes in my life. I have suffered a great deal of loss. Why had I been so selfish? I had always wanted to marry her. Why had I waited? I don't think there are no words to describe how attributed much for my success. Without her, I have no regrets. Someone you Kathy will be extremely
I
proud.
don't think I'm a Mum's favourite person. I can't stop thinking about Kathy.
Carl?
Hi, Haley. I'm sorry. I know it's late. Isn't Kathy still awake?
Callum, it's 1 a.m. No, the 4-year-old isn't awake.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I didn't realise it was so late. Look, can you just when she wakes up, can you just tell her I'll see her soon, like really soon?
I'm not getting her hopes up again.
No, I am. I promise. Look, I'm sorry about the last couple of years. I know I should have been there more, and I'll make it up to her and to you both. And I know you probably hate me.
I don't hate you, Callum. We had a child together, alright, not how or when we planned, but we did love each other. I'll tell her when you can tell me when and where.
Yeah, I can do that. Just I'll let you know tomorrow, 'cause I've got to check on some things in the morning.
Alright, I'll be expecting you. Good night, Callum.
Wait, I just having a week, and look, I know that we didn't work out, but I was selfish and difficult. But I was wondering if maybe, like after a bit, if I'm around more, and
Callum,
no, please just.
that is somehow even worse than when you first asked me out.
Well, it worked then.
If you keep your promise to your daughter, then we can talk about us, okay? But Kathy needs a dad, most importantly.
Yeah, totally. I promise.
Get some sleep, Callum. Good night.
Good night, Haley. Doesn't hate me.